Hey guys, so today we'll be discussing the lead code question, check if a number is the sum of powers of 3 or not. Now in this given question, we have been told that we have a given integer and we need to return true if it is possible to represent n as a sum of distinct powers of 3. Otherwise, we return false. So how this question works? They have been told that we have to use distinct power of 3. Let's take an example of 6. Now 6 can be represented as 2 into 3 to power 1, correct? This is one of the way to represent 6. Actually, the only way in the power of in the distinct power of 3, right? So eventually what happened is that this 3 to power 1 is being utilized twice. So the question says that we cannot do this. All the power has to be distinct in the sense that 3 to power 1 shall only appear once. So I hope you have understood the question. Now let's start how we can actually approach this problem. Now let's take for example, if we want to represent any given number, let's say to the base of 2. What we eventually do is that we keep on dividing by 2, we keep on dividing by 2, and what we end up with that when it is divisible, we'll write 0, 0, 0, but when it is at the end, when we just write the 1 over here, right? So this is how we used to represent the number of, you can say that what does this bit position represent? So it represents 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3, and 2 power 4, right? So this is how it used to work. You used to keep dividing and then finally copy the quotient over here, right? So now one thing to remember over here is that when we divide any given number by 2, there is only two possibilities. Either it can return 0, that means it is divisible by 2, or either it can return 1, that means it is not divisible, like it is not divisible by 2, right? For example, 1 divided by 2, this will return 1, right? So that is one thing which you need to remember over here. So now let's say that you have to represent any number to the base of n, right? Any given decimal value, let's say x to the base of n. So you know that in this given possibilities, there will be 0 to n minus 1 number which will appear. 0 to n minus a number. Now what is this? What does it mean? Like let's say what does it mean? So let's say we want to represent for the base of 3. So eventually what will happen is that there can be different possibilities, as I had told you. So the possibilities will be 0, either the number is divisible by 3, 1, that means it can be represented as 3 to power 1, and there will be another possibility as well. What will be the another possibility? It can be 2, because eventually you know that, right? The remainder can leave the remainder, like it might be not be divisible, and the remainder will be 2. So what does it 2 mean over here? So, and what we have to do with this 2? So you know that, right? At the end, we just populate our piece, we just update this position over here. But what about it? What about it? So as you can see, it means that to represent number 6, we have to use 3 to power 1 twice. We have to use 3 to power 1 twice. And what does 1 means? 1 means that to represent to represent a given number, you have to use 3 to power 2 once. So that is what the question is saying, and I hope that makes sense. What you need to eventually check out is that whenever you're doing a division operation and whenever the remainder is 2, that means the given power is being used twice. That you have to avoid. So whenever it is returning twice, the remainder is returning twice, you have to just return false. Otherwise, at the end, if you're successfully able to represent the given number to the base of 3, then you can clearly say that yes, the number can be represented in the distinct powers of 3. Now let's extend this question and let's say that if they had told 4, how would you do that, right? Let's say that we have to represent a given number to in the distinct power of 4. Now you have to apply the same logic over here. Now if you have to represent any given decimal number in the base of 4, there will be different possibilities. What it will be? Either it will be divisible, that leads to 0, or 1, or 2, or 3, right? So and now what will happen is that, see, this is correct. 0, we do not matter. We are not utilizing any distinct integer. 1 means that we have utilized one distinct integer. And anytime if the remainder becomes 2 or 3, that means that the given distinct power is being utilized twice or thrice, right? So you need to take care of that scenario. So if remainder is 2 or 3, then we have to return false. Same can apply to any given n, and that's how you solve this problem, right? Now the coding of this is pretty simple. You just put a while loop, you check if the n percentage 3 is equal to 2. That means you need to return false, otherwise you divide by 3. Keep on dividing by 3. And at the end, you just return the answer. That is true.